Kiawe, SA, Professor Millie Mill. You know the vibe. Be sure to click the notification bell, like, subscribe, and share. Drop a comment down below. So when that dope content hit, it'll feel like the first of the 15. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day. That's where I put it in those terms in the context of fantastic. I feel absolutely wonderful today. It's Saturday. I'm chill. I'm relaxed. Hope you guys are doing the same. But I decided to do a video, so that makes it even more better, right? So let's get to it. Damu, Kiawe, understand this, right? Your ancestors are the makers, the owners, the cream of the planet Earth, the fathers of civilizations, the gods of the universe. And you are direct descendants from those individuals. So you are in the same space. But what's problematic for you guys is that you're information poor. You suffer from information malnutrition. So therefore, there's certain things you don't adhere to or certain things you don't follow. Your lineage is directly connected to everything I just said. And this is the only way we're going to get on par, we're going to get on board, or we're going to get on code, is that we recognize the God in me, I recognize the God in you, and you recognize the God in such and others, okay? So let me get to what I'm talking about today, Damu and Kiawe. What's not being said or understood, the Pyrus were all alone against the Crips. All alone against the Crips. But being they were the only original gang, the only original tribe, man, if you rise to that fierceness right there, that ferociousness right there, with such opposing opposition as the Crips, and you were totally outnumbered in the 70s, totally outnumbered, right? The numbers were enormous. The Crip numbers were enormous in the 70s. Okay? But yet, the Compton Pyru, who were Compton ready, opposed the Crips. They opposed them by themselves. If I had to put it in a contextual sort of framework to where you can really understand what I'm saying, they were really Compton ready. Where the Brims failed, the Pyrus found success. And how they found success, they created the word blood. They created the word blood, right? Blood allowed them to have commonalities with other anti-Crip gangs, such as the Bounty Hunters, Swans, Ashley Parks Boys, even the Brims, the 20s down there, I forgot what we should call them, way down there. Outlaws, the Bishops, just to name a few. They found commonality in the term blood, which strengthened and allowed their numbers to grow. And this in turn gave rise to the term Damu, which was later on adapted later on. But the reason why I'm saying this, Damu and Kiawe, understand this. Well, you got the triple OGs and the double OGs, right? They're sort of like the gatekeepers of that variety of experiences and things that took place in that time. Often, a lot of what happens, it become hyperbole. It become worthy of a book. And anybody knows when you write anything in a book, that hyperbole plays a part, exaggeration plays a part, inaccuracies plays a part. Because if you don't do the real research and you don't do the real work and you write the book based on just your own sole opinion, then there's going to be some inaccuracies. Because I can see an accident happen across the street and you can see it. I interpret it one way and you interpret it another. Don't mean we both, either of us are wrong. It's just a matter of interpretation. So when you look at that from that perspective, you can see why my brother Frog, I love Frog, strong in his opinion. He believed what he believed. But yet, what he rely on as far as factual and being 100% actual, it failed him, because you got to understand that books are written for a purpose. Books are written purpose for to earn, to make money. So sometimes people put things in their books in order for the book to sell. You understand? So I have never heard some of the things that certain people say in the books. I've never heard certain people verbalize it from their mouths. You understand? And I'm not singling out Frog because I love Frog. I call balls and strikes. Frog is right on a lot of things. But this one particular issue, he may have a little flawed. Because me and him, we talk all the time, you know what I mean? And this is not a reaction to Frog. This is not to discourage Frog. This is not to discredit Frog. Let me make that clear. Frog sometimes takes on the persona that he's the keeper of all that knowledge. And he wants it to come out in a way that is befitting and beneficial to whatever he's about. And I understand that. I get that. Because what people write books for is to make money. Right? I myself, Professor Melly Mail, as this day, have never written a book. Not saying that I'm not capable of writing a book. But I think if I built up my following, my media, and all the things, and not reveal every little thing I know about this Damu and Kiawe experience, when I do write a book, it's going to hit like the first and the 15th. It's going to be tough. But nonetheless, so he referred back to a book, page 9 off of Bob Louis, where it talks about Raymond. But what he didn't have right was the number of Crips that were involved and who the Crips were. It was Little James and Mac Thomas and countless of others that was involved in that situation that day. It didn't have nothing to do with Raymond. Then he also made a mistake. He said that Mac Thomas and Tyrone Tate had a fight. It was not Tyrone Tate and Mac Thomas. It was Melvin Thomas. And one of the pygmies had got into it, you know, and they squared up or whatever, and Melvin Thomas took an L that day. But when Mac and all the rest of us called to assemble and come back to avenge it, then it was a cowboy and Indian standoff, you know what I mean? And they worked it off because they was all Watts and Compton guys, okay? But sometimes when you rely on one source for your information can be a little miscued or not necessarily have all the pieces that fit into that puzzle. So again, I call balls and strikes. So I'm going to tell you, man, when it came to them Hyperbole boys, they were no pushovers. And they really, really stood up to the Crips at the time in which they needed to stand up to them. Okay? As for the Crips had numbers. Right to this day, there was a number of Crip gangs that was like in succession. Crip gang, Crip gang. They really had no opposing opposition. So this in turn led to why you see so many Crips start doing things to one another, because there were no oppositions. Not saying that I say any of this is right, but I'm just telling you how it worked. And then later on, I believe what fell for the Pyrus was the greed. What happened to them was Suge Knight believing in all that stuff. You know what I mean? It was true. Don't get me wrong. Everything that Suge did, you know, there was a lot of money being passed around, but it was also a lot of jealousy and envy, and people being shut out and cut out. So it caused a divide amongst them. I remember at one time, Nudist Park, you wouldn't even heard about that, where you got Mob, Cross Atlantic Line, Marbury, Treetop, Fruittown, Cedar, West Side, 135, Caminella Park. You had all them different Pyrus, right? At one time, all them Pyrus then rose to one drum beat, especially when it came to Looters and Mob and Cross Atlantic, Holly, Line, Washington Street. All those Pyrus were they marched to one beat, and you have to give them credit where credit was due. You know what I mean? Because I was there in those parades when they came up down Compton Boulevard and met us midway or whatever. You know, and things would, you know, get really, really out of hand. You know, where the people of the community wouldn't even, you know, what was used to come in a parade if that's just the day the Crips and Bloods had this great big old gigantic fight, you know. But at the time, all of us was misguided, undereducated, not knowing the value of the melanated man or the melanated woman. We didn't value who we were as a people, where we came from, the complex architectures, kingdom and complex architectures, or even the fact that we are the owners and the makers and the cream of the planet Earth, the fathers of civilization, the gods of the universe. Because even in the Bible it states that I created man, and man was created in the image of God. So I just want to share a little bit, not once again, not discrediting Frog. I think Frog is a very cool individual. I think that he has a lot to say, but at the same time, he can't. You got to speak from the bounty hunter position and let the Pyrus speak for themselves. If Baba Louie wanted that information out that you spoke on Frog, you should have let Baba Louie did it first, and then you come behind him. And I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just explaining to you, you know what I mean? And as to Rockhead and some of the others that tend to jump in this and want to, you know, go against Frog or whatever, I think that they really don't have the knowledge or the information to debate Frog on what Frog is talking about. They just don't. Now, if you got a head honcho on Marcellus or Big Ant, Suman, which is like K Lightbulb, or any of those guys out of that era, then they can, you know, they're even. You know what I'm saying? They come from the same age group. They was in the same Willie Herb, you know, what's from that Carver Park. Baby Ray from Carver Park, you know. Those guys that was in that era, that Roy Tucker's, you know, along with Frog. I think it would be an interesting conversation. But again, the streets are undefeated. It's the people that have taken the L's on all sides. All sides. So as when it comes to Raymond Washington, or it comes to Ray Boyce was clearly an athlete, never a gang member. Raymond Washington wanted to be an avenue, went up, started the Crips, along with Mac Thomas, Head Honcho, and name a few others. Ricky Silas, who lost his life somewhere over there on the east side, another strong individual. But when you talk about town pudding, bartender, Herman Jr., Big Jeffrey, Lil Vince, Lil Nate, uh, Sugar Man, you know, just to name a few from that side. All those brothers was Compton ready, and you can't take nothing from them. Can't take not one thing from them. But what I won't do is allow somebody to take things out of context and put it into their own context based on selling books. Because if you look at the story itself, it's all about selling books, you know. Professor Belly Mail, as for me, I have no desire at this point to sell a book. If I do, I'll let you know. But that's not how I get my money. I think that in order to be good at what we do as far as this YouTube thing goes, I think practice make perfect. And it's just like Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan. Before either one of those guys was ever paid for shooting a jump shot, they shot over thousands of shots for free. But they did it so well, and they perfected their craft and their art. Everybody wanted to love to come see them do it, and they want to pay them to see it do it. And that's where you need to be, if that's where you're going with this stuff. Other than that, let's just have fun, get the information out, get the people some substance. You know, don't get hung up on the hyperbole or the bulgarious talk. You know, as for sockeye, bodacious, which were both Putin brothers, they were both monopart cribs before they was Pyro, okay? So that's another fact that was left out of that circumstance. So, but once again, shout out to them all, you know, Professor Melly Mail, the Hood Postman, you know the vibe. So until the next video, I'm out. And I will be going live in that way you guys can question me on this stuff and come back at me, you know. I have fun with it because here's the thing. As long as we can sit down and have a conversation where we're not shouting or try to overtalk one another, then I think that's perfect. I love to have that discussion, you know, and let's be gentlemen about it. Let's be civil. Let's use knowledge, understanding, and just come with a pure heart. That's all it takes, right? Shout out to the mailroom goons. Man, we're going to be sorting mail after this video. Crystal, Marlena, Miss Reed, Henny God, shout out to y'all, man. Marlon Guest, man, y'all going to be in the mailroom sorting mail after this video. I'm telling you, I know they're going to come back after me. But that's okay. That's why I'm here. We out.